The word traditional has a nice ring to it. Trusted, reliable, dependable. All good thoughts when you're planning for your retirement. Greg Shepard, TIAA Traditional Lifetime Income sounds so enticing and comforting, especially when you're thinking about retirement. So what are the benefits here?
Benefits. Okay. Patrice, this is probably my most popular question I get asked with TIAA Traditional and then transitioning that traditional into lifetime income. Asked in various ways. Is it for me? How much should I transition into lifetime income? The pros and cons. I believe it's my most watched video, if not the top 3 or 5 video on YouTube, for obvious reasons. A lot of folks, there's a lot of nuances. So let me throw this out at you, Patrice, and everybody else listening and watching at home. These are going to be my opinions, okay? Opinions absorbed through 20 some odd years of experience dealing with TIAA, okay? So the reason I say that is these are going to be generalities. These are going to be my opinions, and I'll share with you some of the nuances and pros for lifetime income, where it makes sense and where it doesn't make sense, okay? So, but I'll urge you, I'll emphasize until I'm blue in the face, every situation is unique. And anything and everything I say does not literally apply to everybody listening or watching. So I urge and emphasize, call TIAA, talk to TIAA, or by all means, which we'll get to my contact information at the end, contact me, and I can certainly navigate you through these troubled waters. That is the complexities of TIAA. Now, with that being said, Patrice, I think your question probably, you were alluding to the pros of, maybe ask me that again.
Let's start with the pros, definitely.
Okay. Oh gosh, many different. I'm going to try to stay on topic. Okay, I've already had my 2 or 3 cups of coffee, so just rein me in if I get little out there. Okay. So, and I love talking about it. The pros, again, in generalities, as the name implies, lifetime income. It is just that. It's lifetime income. Now, most folks that are coming to me, they have a spouse. Okay, so we can tack on the spouse. Usually, we're looking at 100% joint survivor benefit. You don't have to do that, but we're for the sake of time and generalities here. So you could tack on spouse for lifetime income as well. So again, as the name implies, it's lifetime income for you and your spouse if you do 100% joint survivor benefit. So which is awesome, right? That pro also lies with comfort, lies with ease.
Right.
You can sleep better at night. Is a cliche. You know, I can sleep easier at night knowing that the $40,000 a year promised to me from TIAA, I hate to use that word guarantee, but promised / guaranteed to me will be there. Okay. So that's a level of comfort that folks realize when they initiate lifetime income. So I understand that. I do get that. There's a place for it. Outside of those, there's going to be other pros. And I'm thinking of scenarios right now off the top of my head. Let's get into the cons. You cool with that?
Yeah,
Patrice?
I'm hearing the big butts are coming here somewhere.
But the cons, okay, so there's a lack of inflation. So lack of inflation protection. Now, we're only talking about lifetime income for the fixed, for the TIAA Traditional.
Right.
Okay, I am not talking about variable. A lot of folks will say, yeah, but I can tack on lifetime income with my variable money, the CREF side of things, and we're not talking about that. We're talking about the TIAA Traditional transitioning into fixed lifetime income. No inflation protection. Now, I will give credit where credit is due. TIAA will, every once in a while, defined by maybe on average every other year, around that time frame, they'll give you a little raise, if you will, but it will not keep up with inflation. Okay, let's make sure everybody understands that. So there's a lack of inflation protection. So we'll use that $40,000. If you go to the Retirement Income Illustrator, which a lot of you folks out there know what I'm talking about, on TIAA's website, and it tells you it's going to pay you $40,000 a year for that lifetime income. Just go in. I tell folks, just go into retirement planning thinking that's what you're going to get for the rest of your life. Don't try to dive into the details. Well, I might get a little bump, as a raise, or I get questions all the time. How solvent is that payment? We do not have time to get into that right now, or the desire. I tell folks, hey, Albert Einstein was one of the first clients of TIAA. They've been around forever. They're very good at what they do. Don't let that be the catalyst to you as a participant not initiating lifetime income.
Mhm.
Or let me tell you, if TIAA ceased to pay lifetime income, we got something going on that's bigger than your lifetime income. Okay. Something economic. There's a tsunami out there. All right. So there's other things to worry about. But the con can also be opportunity cost. All right. And again, this is where I'm going off on tangents because, and I'll kind of throw in pros and cons here. I'll absorb them together. All right. Now, we have to understand that lifetime income is a payment on your money, not of your money. Now, I wrote this down. So I'm flipping to a screen here real quick. You might see that if you're watching at home. I wrote this down. So I want to make sure everybody understands this. So I'm going to say it verbatim. TIAA lifetime income, I used an 8% payout rate, which is kind of common if you've been there for 20 some odd, close to 30 years. Okay. So TIAA lifetime income, 8% payout rate is a return of your money, not a return on it. Okay, represents the percentage of your accumulated savings that TIAA will pay you annually as income, essentially distributing your own principal and any credit interest over your lifetime.
So you're working on the principle here. You're drawing that down.
So it's in theory, it's pretty simple. So you have $500,000 in TIAA Traditional. You want to initiate lifetime income. Those monies cease to become yours. They cease to be yours. Okay, they're TIAA's money now, which is fine. That's the way these annuity they all work. So TIAA goes out and invests that money in their TIAA general account. They do various things with it, and they're trying to earn interest, obviously above and beyond what they're paying you. So what they're going to do now, using this 8% payout rate example, they in turn, they being TIAA, are going to turn around and pay you 8% of your money, not on your money. So you're not returning, you're not making 8% return. You're returning 8% of your money each year to you. Like you said, the principal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now there's a break-even point at some point down the road, meaning,
mm-hmm.
and usually the math equals out to 12, 13 years, something like that. The break-even point is pretty simple to find out mathematically. Usually it's around 12 years. And so what I tell folks is, hey, you're going to pay yourself for 12 years. Okay. After that, your money, again, hypothetical example here, your money's going to run out. Now, that doesn't mean your payments stop. TIAA is going to dip into their general account and keep paying you for the rest of your life and your spouse's if you have a joint survivor benefit. Okay. So that's where I was kind of tongue in cheek here. I mean, this isn't literal. Like TIAA would love for you to die within 12 years. Okay. In this example. And if you live 12 years beyond or beyond 12 years, you won the actuarial game. Okay. So it can be good. It can be good. And when I say this, I know I'm going, long in the tooth here, Patrice. So ram me back if you want.
No, this is good. This is very good.
Okay.
Keep going.
So in my experience, for those that have been with Traditional, 20 plus years for sure. Okay. When you start pushing 30, the conversation changes. That's when it's almost impossible to ignore lifetime income. All right. So I get the question all the time, is lifetime income for me? Should I do it? How much? And all. So first we got to figure out how long you've been there because that equates to your payout rate. It helps determine high percentage of that payout rate is dependent upon how long you've been loyal with Traditional. It's not the Fed fund. I get questions all the time. Well, the FOMC is going to lower the Fed funds rate. How's that impact? And I know for those of you watching at home, it's a sliver. I mean, it's microscopic, the impact that the Fed funds rate has on payout rates. It's all about longevity with Traditional. Okay. So when you're pushing that 30-year, a couple, 3 decades, that's when it really becomes attractive, which isn't unusual in higher education and those in TIAA. They've been there for a long time. All right. So we got to start with that. How long have you been there? And then we got to figure out where it plays into your retirement plan. Now, I advocate, I'm not shy about this, and TIAA has backed me up on this, depending upon who you talk there, no more than 40%, meaning if you have $1 million here, we're the max we're going to look to initiate lifetime income is $400,000. All right. And then we kind of move down from there. Now, you could have more than that in Traditional, but we have to implement other strategies to liquidate those monies. And I'll also tell you, again, ram me back here, Patrice, if I'm going long. I'm not a huge fan of lifetime income, but I don't have a dog in the fight. Again, tongue in cheek, I don't care if people initiate lifetime income. I have talked people into lifetime income that wanted nothing to do with it. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example here. And conversely, I've talked people out of it that were all for it. Okay, now one that just popped in my mind, I did last week. Individual, married couple. Neither one of them, they're both with TIAA, higher education. Neither one of them wanted anything to do with lifetime income. They, in turn, prior to coming on board as a client, which they are now, both of them, initiated what's called a 10-year TPA. So that's a way to liquidate traditional inside, let's go with an RA contract, an illiquid contract. Okay, they're taking those payments, going to a rollover IRA. They had 8 more years of payments, the 9-year payout, even though it's called a 10-year TPA. Don't ask me why. I don't make the rules. So we did a Zoom call. I went into their retirement income illustrator just for kicks and giggles and found that their payout rate would have been, and still can be, is pushing 9%. Now, keep in mind, they've already initiated, they did not opt for lifetime income. We have a 10-year TPA in motion. What I did is I said, hey, let's just throw this around, this idea. Let's stop the TPA. In lieu of that, let's initiate lifetime income for the two of you. And they are 70, they worked up until 70 some odd years old. Okay. I can't remember exactly, 71, 72 years old. Okay. What if we did lifetime income for the two of you? All right. It's going to pay you 9% on your money, not of your money, not on your money.
Mm-hmm.
And also for some estate planning advantages, let's kick on a 20-year guarantee period, meaning they have one daughter. She will get payments. How do I word this? If the client and her spouse and vice versa, if they die prior to 20 years, the daughter will get the payments for the rest of those 20 years. They're
That
72
sounds
years.
pretty good.
Oh,
actually.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't realize that you could tack on a 20-year guarantee period option at their advanced age. Okay.
Really?
So where lifetime income can become advantageous and a pretty good estate planning tool. Now, don't quote me on this. I urge everybody out there to look this up. This isn't difficult to look up or ask. I'm going off memory here, which is lacking, suffering every day I get older. I think up until 85-ish, TIAA will allow you to tack on a 85, 86, a 15-year guarantee period option.
Really?
So what's the longevity of life for male and female? I'm not sure what it is, but upper 80s? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm thinking, yeah.
So just think about that. That's great for the kids. Now, those are going to be adult children, of course, but it could be a good estate planning tool, which in the past I've said it's not a good estate planning tool for most folks. There are exceptions for everything.
But no, if you're changing horses midstream here, basically, and you're planning, and what does that do to your assets? Does it impact them negatively at all?
Yeah. Again, many tangents here. So lifetime income, lack of liquidity. Right. Okay.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of liquidity. I'm biased. I mean, that's what I do for a living, right? So I like liquidity. So what you're doing is you're giving up liquidity. Now, a lot of folks will, again, depending upon some variables, will implement that lifetime income, but a majority of their assets are going to be over here where it's liquid.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Also remember, if you have like we'll go with that RA contract, which is illiquid, you can initiate 50% of it into lifetime income. You don't have to it's not definitively 100% one way or the other. So you could do 50% lifetime income and then TPA the rest to an IRA if you want to start that liquidation process. All right. So in totality, I think, I'm coming at you here from, I'll say an unbiased perspective because I don't work for TIAA, never have, never will. Great company. I think for most people, it might be to their disadvantage to initiate lifetime income because they misuse it and they don't understand all the opportunity costs, and the components that drive lifetime income. And that's where you have to know the right questions to ask. Okay, if you don't know the right questions to ask, you're not making an intellectual, informed decision. A lot of folks will say, "Hey, I've got $1 million with TIAA. Man, if I kick that all into lifetime income, they're going to pay me whatever per year. That sounds really good."
It does. Yeah.
It sounds good, but if you had 20 financial gurus here, a lot smarter than myself, they would all say, "No, you don't want to. No, you don't want to do that." Okay,
But it sounds easy and it sounds comforting. Yes.
Absolutely. And people have reached out to me wanting to do that, and I just have a conversation with them. I just show them why that may not be a good idea. Now, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna talk out of both sides of my mouth here. Okay, this is why I say not every situation is unique. So I had one lady call me up. She was widowed and just scared to death about doing. She retired and was scared to death about the investment thing. She didn't understand, and I was trying to educate her. And she met me through Zoom, which I get it. She was like, "Hey, I just met you. I don't know if I want to onboard as a client. I don't. You could be an AI bot for all I know." And I said, "Hey, let's take a step back. If you did initiate lifetime income, would you be able to sleep at night and make yourself comfortable each day knowing that you have a payment coming to you in the amount of X?" And she said, "Yes." And I could hear it in her voice.
Mhm.
And I said, "Hey, let's do it." And let's just do it. And it's not a wrong answer necessarily for this situation. And she also had a spending problem. I forgot to mention. She didn't trust herself with liquid assets that she had access to, that she could just, click of a mouse, email me or call me and say, "Hey, I need $10,000. And I'm not going to say no, it's her money.
Right.
So she didn't trust herself in that regard. So I said, "Hey, let's just do the lifetime income." And I could hear in her voice and see it, just shoulders, just a big sigh of relief. So for that situation, I think it made sense. So I never would recommend that for other folks, but for this individual, I did. And there's others like that, like her, out there that would be appropriate for as well.
Talk to me more about the emotional factors here. I mean, that is a very clear-cut situation, it sounds like to me. But what about other people who hem and haw and they're not sure? How do you try and explain to them what might be the better route to take, but what other options there are without getting them even more confused?
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. I was going to elaborate on that a little bit. A lot of times I got to be careful about going on these different tangents because it does get overwhelming. Okay. Now, I've created worksheets in Excel that help visually explain what I'm talking about. Okay. It's not scientific. I realize that. And I grant folks this when I talk to them and show them the spreadsheet. It's more subjective. It's more of a tool to use to figure out how much makes sense, how much lifetime income makes sense in their situation. But the emotional side of things lends itself towards typically initiating more lifetime income than what makes sense financially because of the things I just talked about, the comfort, the ease in which you sign some paperwork and next month they're going to send you whatever, a few $1,000s a month for the rest of my life. Are you kidding me? That's awesome. But what they don't understand, a lot of folks, 9 out of 10 folks out there, the other options afforded to you with those monies that do entail a little more risk. And with that risk, though, becomes, higher risk, high reward.
Right.
And now we're talking about the bond market and other income producing things that we put folks in outside of TIAA in conjunction, a lot of times with lifetime income. But the ability to be careful my words here, to make more money going forward is and can be exponential with the liquid money rather than a fixed payment each month per and year. Okay. But again, it takes education on that liquid money, which a lot of folks haven't spent time doing. I don't blame them. That's not their thing. So The emotional side, again, lends itself towards lifetime income. It's my job to really not talk them out of it by any means, but just make sure it makes sense and how much makes sense for them.
Greg, I don't think I have got any questions right now. Is there something we didn't touch on that you want to make sure we do? Because this was very comprehensive. And when you think about it, it really makes, well, it does make sense on both sides, pros and cons. The comfort of knowing you're getting so much, but that money could be doing more for you. Perhaps it might not be doing more for you. So you've got to, your risk tolerance there, I guess, is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's more than that, though. Patricia asked, if there's more questions. Yeah, are you kidding me? We could do a number of episodes on this one alone, which we might do, honestly. Okay. Yeah, and I'll tell folks till I'm blue in the face. Ask questions. Do a little research before you start asking questions. Contact me, and I'll tell you, folks contact me and say, hey, what questions do I need to ask Tia when I'm asking them about or just getting information? Like I have a meeting with my wealth advisor at TIAA next week. Do you have a set list of questions I need to ask? And that just starts the conversation, okay? Because I keep saying the same thing. You don't know what you don't know. And so the more you do know, the more of an educated conversation you can have around something that's going to impact the rest of your life financially. I mean, it's not beat around the bush here. So you want to optimize that situation. And initiating more lifetime income than what you need is doing the opposite. It's not optimizing your financial situation. Okay, I know it's a little vague, but you just have to have all the information before you make that informed decision.
And is it sometimes too late to make that informed decision?
100%.
Yes.
Once you turn that spigot on for lifetime income, that money gone. Okay. They ain't giving it back. Okay. Now you can always do you can always do like this lady I talked about earlier. She initiated that TPA, and then we turned around and did a lifetime income. So there are some revocable choices, but lifetime income isn't one of them. So once you initiate that, that money's gone. Okay. And a lot of folks, again, I'm not going off tangents. A lot of folks get turned around on the option. So like that joint survivor benefit, you can protect your spouse 100%, 2/3. There's ways you can protect your spouse. The guaranteed period options, people get it wrong all the time. A lot of folks think there's inflation protection because on a retirement income illustrator, you can, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Project the erosion of your money using a tool they have. It gets a little confusing. Okay. Little meaning a lot. Confusion. So there's a lot of nuances that go into that lifetime income.
Well, how can somebody reach you, Greg, if they've got questions here? And boy, I'm sure they're going to have questions.
Oh, there's all kinds of questions folks should have after listening and watching this. Email is going to be the best. I'll spell my last name, but it's greg@shepardfinancial.com. Shepard is SHEPARD. Phone number, people still do call me, 913. I'm in the Kansas City area, 913-521-2381. Check out my website, safinancial.com. Then there's other platforms you can find. It's pretty easy to find my content.
Your videos?
Yeah, on YouTube. So if you want to contact me, it's pretty easy these days.
All right, excellent. And it's also very easy to like and follow this podcast so you know when a new show is ready for you. And of course, share it with others. I'm Patrice Sikora, and thanks for being with me.
Thank you much.
Thank you for listening to TIAA Simplified. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our website at www.safinancialservices.com or give us a call at 913-521-2381. And don't forget to click the follow button so you never miss an episode. S&A Financial Services, Inc. is a registered investment advisor. Content presented is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice or as an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Always consult with your tax advisor or attorney regarding your specific situation.